Hello, and welcome to the MyBFF Business Leaders Podcast, your new secret weapon for business success. Sponsored by MyBFF Social Media, Marketing, and Advertising. Make sure to hit subscribe. Now let's get started.
Hey everyone, and welcome back for another deep dive. Today we are going to be talking about social media. It's a topic that we get asked about all the time, so we're really excited to dig into it. And we have some awesome sources to help us out today. So first we have this fact sheet from Pew Research Center all about social media usage. And then we also have this article from Sprout Social about the importance of social media marketing for businesses. Both of these sources are packed with really interesting insights. And we think they paint a fascinating picture of just how important social media is for businesses, especially in 2025. I mean, let's face it, social media is everything now.
And speaking of helping businesses thrive in the world of social media, a huge thank you to MyBFF Social for sponsoring this deep dive. They are the absolute experts at helping businesses navigate the complexities of social media marketing. And we'll tell you a bit more about them later in the show. But for now, let's get into it.
Let's do it. Okay, so this Sprout Social article starts out with a stat that honestly kind of blew my mind. It says that 76% of consumers have bought something that they saw on social media. Like, not just browsed, not just, thought about it, but actually bought something. I mean, that's pretty wild, isn't it? Social media isn't just a place to connect with friends and family anymore. It's like this massive marketplace.
Yeah, it really highlights how the whole customer journey has changed. Think about it. You're scrolling through your feed, you see a product that you like, maybe you read some reviews from other people, and then bam, you just buy it, all without even leaving the app. It's so seamless now, and businesses really need to be ready for that.
Totally. So to kind of understand this whole thing better, let's look at where all these customers are hanging out online. What platforms are they using? Well, the data from Pew Research Center shows that YouTube and Facebook are still the biggest players, with 85% of U.S. adults using YouTube and 70% using Facebook.
Those are huge numbers.
Yeah, I mean, that's basically everyone. But we can't forget about the newer platforms that are kind of shaking things up too. Like Instagram is at 50% usage. And then there's TikTok, of course. 33% of adults are using TikTok, and that number is even higher for Gen Z and teens.
Absolutely, and I think that's where the real strategic thinking comes in. Businesses need to ask themselves, where is my target audience spending their time? Are they on TikTok making dance videos, or are they on LinkedIn talking about their careers? Understanding your audience is key.
It's kind of like, setting up shop in the right neighborhood. You wouldn't open a skateboard shop in a retirement community, would you? You need to be where your customers are.
Exactly. And what I think is so exciting about all this is that social media marketing has really leveled the playing field for businesses. You don't need a huge budget to make a splash anymore.
That's so true. I mean, the Sprout Social article talks about brands like Gymshark and Glossier. They've built these massive brands through really creative, organic content.
Totally. And remember that ocean spray video? The one with the guy skateboarding and drinking cranberry juice?
Oh my gosh, yes, that was amazing.
It wasn't some big fancy ad campaign. It was just this simple video that captured a moment, and it went totally viral.
And it just goes to show that, creativity and authenticity can go a really long way.
They really can. But of course, there's also paid advertising on social media, which can be really powerful too.
Yeah, and that's what gets me really excited. Like the Sprout Social article talks about how we're not just throwing darts in the dark anymore with advertising.
Right.
You can target specific demographics interests, even people who have searched for specific products online.
It's amazing you can get so granular with your targeting now.
Yeah, it's like putting your message right in front of the people who are most likely to be interested.
And the best part is you can track your results and see what's working and what's not.
It takes the guesswork out of it.
It really does.
Good.
But, even with all the advancements in targeting and data analysis, we can't forget about the human element of social media.
Totally. I mean, at the end of the day, it's about connecting with people.
Exactly. It's not just about pushing products. It's about building relationships with your customers.
I'm so glad you said that because I love this stat from Sprout Social that says 64% of consumers actually want brands to engage with them on social media. And 70% feel more connected to a brand when they respond to their comments and questions.
That makes sense. People want to know that there's a real person behind the brand.
Right. Not just some faceless corporation.
And when brands get it right, it's awesome. Like Wendy's on Twitter, they have this playful, sarcastic tone that people love.
Yeah, it's so funny.
It's not just about customer service. It's about creating a personality and building relationships that lead to brand loyalty.
I love that. And speaking of building relationships, let's take a moment to thank our sponsor, MyBFF Social. They are the social media experts who can help you do just that, build a strong, engaged community around your brand.
They're fantastic.
We'll tell you more about them later, but for now, let's get back to our discussion. Because we've talked about the importance of connection and authenticity. But there's another element that's absolutely dominating the social media landscape, and that is video.
Oh, yeah.
We're living in the age of short-form video content,
TikToks, Reels, YouTube Shorts, it's everywhere.
and the numbers don't lie.
No.
Sprout Social says that social video gets 1,200% more shares than text and images combined.
Whoa, 1,200%, that's insane.
Right, but it kind of makes sense when you think about it. People are busy, they're scrolling through their feeds. They want something that's visually engaging and easy to consume.
Yeah, video is just so dynamic. It's a great way to tell stories, showcase products, connect with your audience on an emotional level.
Totally, if you're not using video in your social media strategy, you are missing out.
I agree.
But it's not just about creating any old video either. It's about creating content that people actually want to watch and share.
Yeah.
And that's where things like influencer marketing come into play. Because in a world that's so saturated with advertising, people are looking for recommendations from sources they trust. And that's where influencers come in.
They provide social proof.
Exactly.
People rely on recommendations from their friends, their family, people they admire, and influencers are a part of that now.
And Sprout Social found that influencer marketing actually leads to higher engagement and conversions.
It makes sense, right?
Yeah, if someone you follow and respect is using a product and loving it, you're more likely to check it out yourself. It feels more authentic and relatable than a traditional ad.
It's not some faceless corporation telling you to buy something. It's someone you trust sharing their genuine experience.
Exactly.
And that's really powerful.
But I think even with all these tools and strategies available, navigating the world of social media can still feel really overwhelming for businesses.
It's true. It's constantly changing. It can be hard to keep up.
And that's why I'm so grateful for sponsors like MyBFF Social. They can help businesses of all sizes create and implement really effective social media strategies.
They're the best.
We'll tell you more about how they can help after a quick break.
Welcome back to the Deep Dive.
So we've been talking about all this data about social media and how businesses are using it, but I think it's time to kind of zoom out a little and think about the bigger picture.
Totally.
What does this all mean for businesses in the long run?
Well, I think the key takeaway here is that social media isn't just some passing fad.
Right.
It's not going anywhere. It's a fundamental shift in how we communicate, how we get our information, even how we do business.
It really is. It's like woven into the fabric of our lives at this point.
Exactly. And businesses that don't adapt to this new reality, they're going to get left behind.
It's that crucial, huh?
It really is.
I could see how that could be kind of scary for some businesses, though.
Yeah.
Especially the ones that have been doing things the same way for a long time. The digital world moves so fast it can be hard to keep up.
Oh, absolutely. It can be daunting. But it's also super exciting. I mean, think about all the possibilities that social media opens up. It gives businesses of all sizes this incredible opportunity to connect with their audience in a way that just wasn't possible before.
It's true. It's like having a megaphone that can reach millions of people. But you can also use it to have these really personal one-on-one conversations with your customers.
That's a great way to put it. And the feedback you get is so valuable. You can see in real time what's resonating with people, what's not working, and then you can adjust your strategy accordingly.
So it's this constant learning process,
It is.
which can be challenging but also really rewarding, I bet.
For sure. And that's why it's so important to have a solid social media strategy in place.
Okay, so let's talk strategy then.
Yeah.
What are some of the key things businesses should be thinking about when it comes to social media?
Well, the first step, and I think this is the most important one, is understanding your audience.
Right.
Like, who are you trying to reach? What are they interested in? What are their pain points? Where do they hang out online?
Yeah, that seems obvious, but
Yeah.
I bet a lot of businesses just kind of jump into social media without really thinking about that.
It happens all the time. And it's like trying to build a house without a blueprint. You need that foundation of understanding your audience before you can start creating content that actually connects with them.
Makes sense. And that content needs to be engaging too.
Of
right?
course.
It can't just be like constant sales pitches and promotions.
No way people can see right through that. You need to provide value. Give them something that they actually want, whether it's information, entertainment, or something else.
So how do you strike that balance then between providing value and also promoting your business?
It's a bit of a balancing act for sure.
Yeah.
But it's about finding that sweet spot where you're giving people something they genuinely want while also subtly weaving in your brand messaging.
Okay, can you give me an example?
Sure. Let's say you're a company that sells eco-friendly cleaning products. Instead of just posting photos of your products and, announcing sales all the time, you could create content that educates people about sustainable living, or share tips on how to reduce their environmental impact,
I like that.
or even show behind-the-scenes glimpses of how your company is committed to sustainability.
Yeah, so you're providing valuable information, but you're also subtly reinforcing your brand values at the same time.
Yeah, exactly. And don't underestimate the power of storytelling either.
Ooh, storytelling.
People love stories. It's how we connect with each other.
So how can businesses use storytelling on social media?
Well, you could share the story of how your company got started, the challenges you've overcome, the impact you're making.
I like that.
You could share customer testimonials, spotlight your employees, even just funny anecdotes that capture the personality of your brand.
It's about showing the human side of your business, right?
Absolutely. When you do that, you build trust and loyalty, which is so important.
It is. Thinking about all this makes me realize that social media isn't just about marketing anymore. It's really about building a community and fostering relationships with their customers.
It's a whole new way of thinking about how businesses interact with the world.
And if you're feeling a little overwhelmed by all of this, remember there are resources out there to help, like our sponsor, MyBFF Social.
They are amazing at helping businesses navigate this whole world.
Exactly. They can help you figure out your goals, develop a strategy, create great content.
They're like your BFF in the social media world.
I love that. We'll tell you more about how they can help after a quick break. Welcome back to the Deep Dive. It feels like we've covered so much ground already, but we're actually running out of time.
Time flies when you're having fun, right?
It really does. So before we wrap things up, I want to get your thoughts on some practical steps that businesses can take to really embrace this whole social media thing. Where should they even begin?
Well, the first step, like we talked about, is just having a presence. You got to be where your customers are, which means setting up profiles on the platforms that make sense for your business.
So not every business needs to be on every platform.
Nope, not at all. It's about being strategic. Do your research, figure out who uses each platform, and focus your energy on the ones where your target audience is hanging out.
Makes sense. So you're saying if you're a B2B company, LinkedIn might be your main focus.
Exactly.
But if you're a fashion brand, you might prioritize Instagram or TikTok.
Right.
Okay, so let's say you've got your profile set up. What's next?
Content. You got to start creating content. But remember, it's not just about posting for the sake of posting. You want to provide value to your audience.
Right.
Think about what your customers care about. What problems are they facing? How can you help them?
So it's got to be helpful, informative, engaging.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to let your personality shine through.
Oh, yeah. People want to see the real you.
For sure. Authenticity is key.
What about consistency?
Consistency is huge. Social media is a marathon, not a sprint. You got to be active and engaged on a regular basis.
So it's not like you can just post once a month and call it a day.
Nope. It's about building relationships over time.
And nurturing those relationships.
Exactly. Showing up consistently for your audience. Social media is a conversation, not a monologue.
I like that.
Respond to comments, ask questions, participate in discussions, show people that you're listening.
It's all about engagement.
It is.
And like we talked about earlier, don't be afraid to experiment. Try different types of content. See what works for you.
Exactly. The beauty of social media is that it's always changing, so you can always be learning and adapting.
And speaking of adapting, I've given another shout out to our sponsor, MyBFF Social. They are the perfect partner for businesses that want to navigate this crazy world of social media.
They're awesome.
They can help you create a strategy, develop content, manage your online presence.
Like having a personal social media guru in your corner.
I love that. You can find them at www.nersley.mybffsocial.com. So as we wrap up this deep dive, what would you say is the biggest takeaway for our listeners?
I think the biggest takeaway is that social media isn't just a marketing tool anymore. It's a fundamental part of doing business in the 21st century.
It's how we connect, communicate, get information.
It's about building relationships, fostering community, creating a space for your brand to shine.
And ultimately, it's about using the power of human connection to grow your business.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Well, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for joining us for another deep dive.
It was a pleasure.
And a huge thank you again to MyBFF Social for sponsoring this episode. Make sure to check them out at www.mybffsocial.com. Until next time, happy posting, everyone.